Namaskar everyone. In the previous tutorial, we found that there are two elementary ways by which the human beings connect with the supernormal, superhuman, divinity or divinities. One of them is revelation and the other inspired enlightenment or self-realization. While revelation is the way of the Middle Eastern religions like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism, the philosophy behind the concept of inspired enlightenment forms the kernel of the Hindu approach. And this is the topic of our tutorial today, the story of Hindu pursuit of truth. Ancient Hindus delved deep and hard not only into the cosmic and spiritual realms, but also the materialistic disciplines like a variety of art forms, science, and mathematics, with equally outstanding accomplishments. As a vibrant and spirited people, they engaged enthusiastically with anything and everything that carried meaning for life for living, whether of this world or the other, which is what we will confine ourselves to in this tutorial, in the first part of which we will highlight a broad outline of the Hindu approach. The most vibrant and compelling years of ancient Hindu history are unfortunately mired in a fog of uncertainty, as the majority of Hindu records from those times have been lost, plundered, or destroyed. Millions of manuscripts have still been recovered in chaotic locations and from different time periods. But painstaking diligence has allowed their compilation into fairly accurate narratives, Rig Veda being one of the oldest. Though far from complete, they give reasonably credible accounts of the ancient Hindus' approach to their lives, their politics, their religion, their thought processes, and their methods, as well as their successes and their failings. It is these texts that our story of Hindu pursuit of truth is derived from. While going through the story, I want you to remember that the activities and the methodologies they followed show continuous evolution and a chronological progression. They were like experiments. If one failed to produce the results they wanted, they moved to the next one. I often see people quoting randomly from portions of Vedas or pointing to certain activities like severe austerities, renunciation of the world, or certain rituals to claim that the Vedas say or teach this or that, implying them to be the final recommendations that Hinduism has to offer. It is not like that. They seem to forget that they were merely part of the process of sequential growth and maturation of Vedic knowledge that it underwent over a period of thousands of years until it reached its final resolution in the Upanishads. The earliest parts of the Vedas show ancient Hindus to be in a state of exploration, during which we see Hindu sages to be asking questions, analyzing, and framing hypotheses and evaluating them. In between, the whole thing simmered in a state of considerable flux. And in the general theater of a continuum, it had its ups and downs and its advances and backtrackings. In that sense, we should reserve our judgment on what Hinduism has to say until its Upanishadic culmination. Scholars have identified three broadly sequential phases called Kants or maturation of Hindu thought. Number one, Upasana Kant, which is the use of worship and prayer. Number two, Karma Kant or use of rituals. And the third is the Gyan Kant, which pertains to the use of intellect and consciousness, or in other words, spiritual elevation. Despite being broadly sequential, all three phases had considerable overlap in every stage. We will presently go into greater detail of how Hindu thought and practice proceeded to accomplish God realization. Let's see if I can transmit to you some of the enchantment that I felt while exploring these texts for the materials. While their method was not planned or organized in the modern scientific sense, certain patterns based on the ethos and the deep-seated principles of ancient Hindu society were essential elements to their approach. I think it is important to make you aware of those. I also want to tell you about how motivated they were and how much commitment meant to their work. Then it is hard to stop gushing over the tremendous effort that the ancient Hindus must have expended over such an arduous undertaking. Almost as a unit, they took to the investigation of nature's inexhaustible mysteries like a fish taking to water. Their society seems to have adopted this task of spiritual inquiry as its collective vocation. Countless committed themselves to it full time, others playing supportive roles with verve and nerve. This assignment could not have been easy, but to their credit, they accepted the challenge to walk the hard road, the road never traveled, and surmounted all the hurdles that came their way. Absolutely stirring through all this was the uncompromising passion which they pursued, with which they pursued their query. So many seekers slogged through whole lifetimes, paying scant regard to either the quantity of workload or the physical, social, and material costs involved. Disappointments and frustrations came their way too, in fact, only for them to discount them stoically in their ceaseless march. Never did they allow themselves the temptation to be dogmatic. All new ideas were investigated with the alacrity and humility of a scientist. All possible hypotheses, approaches, and techniques likely to make their explorations meaningful were tested and verified, but embraced only if acceptable. The only touchstone of acceptability was a spirit of inquiry, a reason, actual experience, and solid evidence. Previously held beliefs and biases were not allowed to hold back new ideas and novel approaches. No compromises were made to accommodate populist and easy solutions. If they failed to meet the test of logic and empirical verification, they were rejected, no matter how attractive they looked otherwise. A famous verse from Rig Veda says, "Lead me from unreal into real, and from darkness unto light." This adage was followed to the hilt. The truth was the only object and the sole acceptable endpoint. Everything even the existence of God was subjected to doubt and interrogation. As an example, look at this beautiful passage from Rig Veda and notice its quizzical beauty. Who truly knows and who can tell when it was born and how the world was fashioned? The gods came later, earth's creation was before. Then, who knows out of what the world has emerged? Whether the universe was made or always there? God knows for sure, only Him, who in the highest heaven watches and protects it. He knows indeed, but then perhaps He does not. This verse, of course, belongs to the initial phases of their inquiry before they got anywhere near their eventual answers. I am mentioning it here to emphasize that the Hindu concept of God and the meaning of life were born out of such intense inquiry and not out of some unverifiable revelations. This brings us to the end of this particular session of the tutorials on Hinduism. In the next, we will trace the actual steps of the ancient Hindus' successful search for God. Thank you again for watching. I would like to take this opportunity to request you to share this video with your contacts. Also, please push the subscribe and the thumbs up buttons if you found the tutorial worth your while. The link to the book which this tutorial was based on is also given in the description below and also displayed on the screen following the tutorial. Thank you again.